Why did Boris Johnson not sack Matt Hancock?
Well, Matt Hancock resigned, yes, on Saturday. The matter was dealt with, I think, very clearly. I think that Matt Hancock quite rightly concluded that because of what had happened, he couldn't carry on with credibility, and he's no longer the Health Secretary. And that is a clear demonstration of the situation.
My question was, why did he not sack him? We know the Health Secretary had admitted he'd broken the rules. Surely, and he's the one that helped draw up the rules, surely the Prime Minister must see that that is a sackable offence.
Well, look, I think that this happened, I think, on the Friday. The news broke on the Friday morning. Prime Minister read about it, and by Saturday, Matt Hancock had resigned. I really don't think that there's too much to dwell upon here. I think the decision was the right one. I think that there is absolutely a very strong case about the need for those who make the rules to follow them, and that's why we have a new Health Secretary.
Debating whether he should have resigned or not. The question is, Boris Johnson has had two opportunities, obvious opportunities to fire people who publicly broke the rules, and he hasn't taken those up. How credible is he?
Well, look, I think the Prime Minister has led us through an incredibly difficult time. I think it was no doubt on everybody's mind the desirability of making sure that the Health Secretary, who'd also been involved right from the beginning, carried this through to the end. But I really don't accept this characterisation that somehow there was any sort of significant gap here. That Health Secretary resigned over the weekend. It was the right thing to do, and Prime Minister's appointed a successor very swiftly. And that's really the issue here. Has somebody taken responsibility? Yes, they have. Have they resigned? Yes, they have.
I don't think it is in the sense, over the last year, as Rosie pointed out, we have Dominic Cummings breaking the rules, public outcry about that. It's been found that the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has broken the ministerial code. There's allegations against the Housing Secretary, Robert Jenrick. We've got Matt Hancock breaking the rules, and at no point did the Prime Minister think these ministers need to go. What does it take in Boris Johnson's government to be sacked? How far do you have to go to damage trust in public life?
Well, look, I think it's tempting to try and knit together all these individual cases into one theme, but I just think that's not the right characterisation at all. Each case has its own different facts, and I think that at the end of it all, public scrutiny is the same as it ever has been. That is intensely shone upon the Prime Minister and this government. We've seen Matt Hancock rightly resign. I just think that what the public are looking for is outcomes. And that's why I think that, interesting though this discussion is, I don't think it tells us anything wider than the fact that in this case, Matt Hancock made huge mistakes in his personal life with regard to what happened, and he realised that had a read across directly to his ministerial responsibilities.
And that personal life became public in an extremely awkward way because of this leaked footage. What investigation is underway to find out how and why that was able to happen?
Well, I understand that the Health Department themselves have asked for an investigation. CCTV, I think we all know, carries data like anything else, and we're all familiar with data protection and the need to make sure that it isn't shared in an unauthorised way, or if it is shared, it's shared with the consent of those involved and for a particular purpose. I would have thought that this was a security camera, and clearly questions need to be asked about that department, indeed all departments, to make sure that this material, if it does exist, isn't being used or falling into the hands of perhaps for people who wish our country ill and who wish to do us damage. So there are legitimate questions here.
There are indeed, and just very finally on this, you're in a position of responsibility in your department. Have you asked your officials to check whether there's cameras inside your private office? Do you know?
Yes, I have asked, and whilst there are cameras in the foyer, and you'd expect security cameras to be there to help staff with their work, there aren't those cameras in my office, and I'm sure that other colleagues in other departments will be asking the very same questions of their officials today.
Robert Buckland, the Justice Secretary, Lord Chancellor as well, thank you very much for your time this morning. Much appreciated. As always with these governments, interviews in the morning that obviously ministers have to go out and defend the government position, but frankly, that is their job when you're part of cabinet responsibility. I still think it is quite interesting that Boris Johnson has not got to the stage yet where he's got anywhere close to sacking a minister for doing anything wrong.
It seems that he's prioritised loyalty over the rules or integrity, really, at this point. How many examples do we have of ministers who've broken the code or broken the rules, and they've been able to either cling on to their job or engineer their own exit?